Johnson. It was pole, a race win, and a lap record in race 1. What's he got in race 2? Another good start from the Mustang, and Bow gets swamped either side. A Camaro on his right, a Torana on his left. Bruce Williams goes through in the AC Delco car. He told me this morning his car was launching like a top fueler. So he's justified that. Big contact. Tilly trying to go down the middle of 2. Didn't quite work. And Rob Hackwood was elbowed out wide for his troubles. The Valiant Pacers storming up through the field.
How did they all just make it through turn 2 there?
I'm not sure.
Locked the rear brakes. I thought he was going to slide into the back of Bow. I took 2 steps away from my TV screen here in the comms box because on that start, when John Bow got on the throttle, his car stepped hard sideways. I thought he was going to loop it in front of the field.
Bruce Williams was telling me he was launching his car in first gear. Very short first gear ratio in that car, so it's erupting off the line in wheel spin. Then he grabs second. This is Hansford working his way through the field. The Queenslander already up 4 spots from where he started. Jim Pollicina in front. So that was a frenetic opening couple of corners. It's still teeing off as they run down into 10 and 11 for the first time. Cameron Tilley, 6th position. It's not where he started. He's moved up from 7th, from 8th, I should say, early back. So he was really aggressive, diving down through the middle into turn 2. What a lap. In front of Jason Gomersall. 5-litre Torana pulls out 4.5-litre straight 6 Valiant, gets him before turn 1. So it's Johnson and Bressington 1 and 2. Tilly under brakes, lighter, more nimble Valiant. Very, very good down there into the right-hander, and he'll wrestle that spot back. And Tony Karamfilowski will try and get some advantage as well. So this is squabble over 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th position. Andrew Fisher already joining this battle pack, starting right from the very back of the field.
And that's the Cameron Tilley that we all love in TCM, isn't it? He knows he has a straight line disadvantage. He pulled over to the right-hand side, going down the main straight. That allowed Jason Gomersall to drive around the outside of him, but he didn't give up when he got to turn 2. He got that job done, and now all the pressure here is on Gomez.
Fisher, very big look into the left-hander. Couldn't quite get the Jesus Racing Falcon stopped in time to go down the inside of Tony Karamfilowski. But this has been a really impressive opening lap from the Sydney sider. A lot of V8 Ute racing experience here. He's Hansford on Hackwood.
Carbon copy move that he put on Jim Pollicina the previous lap. So we saw those two make contact yesterday. Ryan Hansford got the job done on Pollicina cleanly today. Hackwood, one of those cars struggling to get the power down that we were talking about.
I think they should legislate against more rear grip in these cars. We love seeing them slide around. So Johnson pulling away, but not at the level to which we usually expect in this category. 1.2 seconds to Bressington. Bow's a second further back. Williams inside the top 4 once again. So the AC Delco Torana, after an aggressive opening lap, saw him this morning. He was bolting a stiffer front roll bar into that car. He said, "You're trying to get better turn in that." And he said, "No, I'm actually trying to secure the rear of the car more." He's another one working on it, but he was changing the front to try and affect the whole chassis. Seems like it's working so far, because that car's been pretty quick over a couple of laps.
And there'll be people at home that'll probably ask the question, why would you make a change in the front to help the rear? And it's just like shifting the balance and the weight change inside the car. So, you know, they might have maxed out on all their options for changing the rear in terms of gripping it up. So then once you do that, you have to move to the front of the car. And if you take steering away by stiffening up that front anti-roll bar, it will actually make the back of the car a more stable car. But you made a comment earlier, Kralsey, that it should be illegal to make these cars too static and have no sliding happening in the rear. I'm going to back that comment and say absolutely. We want to see these cars light up the rear. We want to see more of that opposite lock, because for me that's exciting to watch.
Vote 1, less grip. These two have got a bit at the moment. John Bowers applying the pressure to Bressington, 2nd and 3rd.
There's a bumper sticker in that.
Well, I'll get right on that. We'll print him up for the next round. And sends it down. Nice move. His team, Gary O'Brien on the right of screen there, who prepares this car fastidiously out of its base in Bendigo. Nice pass. So JB back to 2nd, but through all this battling, it's allowed Johnson just to pull away to a 2.6 second margin, and Williams is catching these two now as well. Stevie J, I said to him this morning, any dramas in your race yesterday, mate? He said, no. If anything, we started the tyre pressures a little bit too high, so the car went off as the race went on, so it started sliding around more as the tyre pressures came up. He said, we'll have to watch that. With the direct sunlight today, the track temperature will be higher, so they were just taking a bit of a gamble on where to start their tyre pressures based on how they'd be a little bit later on in the race.
Particularly with that big rear tyre on the Mustang of Stephen Johnson's, it's susceptible to it. Now, here's a replay. I was waiting for this. Watch the 18 car of John Bow on the right. As soon as he grabbed it, oh, there it is. Just as he went out of shot, badly timed, but he had huge amounts of opposite lock. There we go. That's the slide I was talking about.
How was Bruce
held
Williams?
my breath. I thought, man, JB is going around. Bruce Williams did a great job to avoid contact.
That was an awesome bit of car control, because Bruce's car's been launching brilliantly this weekend.
Let me assure you, from inside that car of John Bow's, they would have been about 10 times more exciting than it looked from that outside shot. Let's go on board here with Ryan Hansford.
Right in the thick of the action. They were almost 4 abreast there. Andrew Fisher was going through. He's got Wayne Mercer just in front. And Ryan was just caught out on the outside of the road here, so really had nowhere to go until he got to the braking zone and just sent it the long way round. That's actually worked for him too. He got a few spots out of that.
You could see Ryan there looking left mirror, right mirror, centre mirror, and it's just information overload. You're trying to absorb as much information and know where cars are around you. Here's this move that Bruce Williams put on Jason Gomersall. Great job. A few more replays going on. Hackwood out on the dirt.
It was a big moment for Rod in the Firebird. They were delighted with 6th place yesterday. A lot of development work to come on that car, and this was the move from JB. So good under brakes, down into turn 2, and Adam Bressington smart enough just to give him racing room.
Geez, he was late on the brakes there. You could see JB diving right to the right-hand side of the road. What that tells me is he's got a little bit of steering lock on, and he's just maximising that braking as much as possible. If you see that 2 cars are side by side and they're using all the road, it means he's got a little bit up his sleeve. So that was a big move, and JB's looking a lot faster and a lot racier today than he was yesterday. So those brake pad change that he did and the option tyre that he's put on the car absolutely lit it up. He's gone purple in the first sector on this lap and has currently set the fastest lap of the race. Full 2.5 tenths faster than Stephen Johnson. So can he bridge that gap? It's currently at 1.8 seconds.
Yeah, charging down, see what he can do, and let's just punch out the fastest lap of the race. There's a shot of Jim Policina in the Mocom car sitting in pit lane. So it's been a pretty dirty weekend for the Sydney-sider, splitting his time this year between Dixon Touring Car Masters and the Kumo V8 Touring Car Series, where he's going along very nicely in the top 5 in the championship there, and ex-Greg Murphy Tasman Motorsport Commodore. That'll be in action at Queensland Raceway in a couple of weeks' time. Jim will be driving there. Here's Rob Hackwood down the inside of Jason Gomersall. Really nice move. Well judged, nicely passed, and he moves himself back into the top 10. Gomersall is going backwards, Cam.
Yeah, I can tell you though, Jim Policina, guys, has spat a belt for an oil pump, so that is his race done.
And there we go. Let's have a look at the shots of that. Bonnet down. There's nothing we can do for you in the pit lane there, Jim. That's what his team says to him, so that's always a shame. You see the disappointment, read the body language, shoulders down.
I hope he shut that car down before a lack of oil pressure in that engine caused it any internal dramas, and if it was just the belt, they'll be able to get it sorted for race 3 later on this afternoon. Here's Mark King, 1970 Chevrolet Camaro, looking for a move on Jason Gomersall, who's dropping backwards like a stone in this race. It's been a challenging weekend for the big mate Torana. He was 3rd fastest in practice 1. Unfortunately, right at the very end of the session, gentle contact with the wall at turn 9, but it did quite a lot of bodywork damage to the rear of the A9X Torana, so they actually had to take the car out of the circuit to a local crash repairer to straighten up. There was nothing mechanical underneath, and structurally the car was fine, but the bodywork was too damaged to continue. So he lost practice 2, so he's behind the 8 ball from the outset. I think there's more to it than that in this race, because he's dropped from 4th in the opening lap, now outside the top 10.
And unlike their more current supercar cousins, the TCM cars don't have a whole heap of bolt-off parts where you can just put a new rear end on it. So they take it to an external crash repairer. They'll put it on a chassis jig, tie it down to the ground, and use some hydraulic rams to pull that car back straight. Cam?
Andy Jones, this is a really cool category, Touring Car Masters. So cool. Check out some of the support vehicles they've got in here as well. Check out this cool Chevrolet. Richard Crail, I reckon you could have a project car like this in the workshop back there in the Barossa.
I think that's a bit of you, Cameron. Can see you driving down to your local coffee shop for a morning latte in that.
The detail on the bonnet clip there, Cam, was absolutely incredible. Look at that, is a beautiful bit of kit. I don't think it should have spares for TCM sitting in the back of it, though.
That's actually Darren Beale's car. So Darren racing the GDS 350 Monaro in the field, currently running 15th. He's from Mackay, so this is his local round. So he's just brought this up for the weekend, using it as their tender vehicle to take the spares to pit lane. That's cool. Talk about getting into the spirit.
Absolutely. Good pick up there, Cam, and thanks for making a note on that, because that is a terrific-looking car.
Well, you talked about it before, Andy. JB, the gap's just actually stabilised. So it went down to 1.8, it's back to 2.1. It's just ebbing and flowing at the moment. The attention turns to the fight for third. And Bruce Williams is right on the back of Adam Bressington. Bresso third in the championship, moved there after a very strong weekend at Hidden Valley. It's when we finished in the series last year as well. This is a much improved performance from the AC Delco Torana. Found some speed, so clearly, Andy, the changes they've made to that car have been good enough to give Bruce a bit more confidence in that car's handling. He's applying the pressure to the guy on the podium yesterday.
Yeah, I think there's two things going on here, Kralsey. Bruce Williams is doing a great job in the AC Delco car, but I feel like Bressington has possibly done what Stephen Johnson did yesterday, and he started with the tyre pressures up quite high, and as this race goes on, he looks like he's starting to battle a little bit with car balance and some tyre grip. Very fast in the opening 2 laps, was able to run with Stephen Johnson, but he's dropping off at a fairly rapid rate here, and he looks like he's going to need to work pretty hard to hold on to that final podium position, because Bruce Williams is looking keen to take it away from him.
I bumped into Bruce this morning, as I said earlier, and he said, oh, come and have a look at this, and he showed me some of his onboard telemetry they run in these cars, and coming out of turn 8 into turn 9, it was a short shift from second to third. The thing was erupting into wheel spin and sideways all the way through turn 9. So he was steering in the opposite direction the corner was going. I said, oh, did that wake you up, Bruce? And he said, it sure did. That would have woken Aaron McGill up.
Speaking of steering the opposite way to the corners going, right on cue, Aaron McGill was doing just that.
Good catch, though.
You mentioned the onboard telemetry, so you're not actually allowed to have sensors as such hooked up to the car, like the supercars are, but what you are allowed to use is that B-box style data system, GPS. Where you put the, the box inside the car. It operates off GPS, and it can give you lap time, a G sensor and a load sensor. So pretty simple version of data electronics, but very effective at the same time.
It was eye-opening to watch. It's good to see Bruce has got that car tuned up side by side through turn 1. Mustang v Falcon. Andrew Fisher's on the inside. This is for position. For 6th place from the back of the field, and Andrew goes through. He's been a busy boy, runs his Life Choices public speaking program, motivational speaking for youths, for people in correctional facilities as well. He actually asked me to give a shout out to a couple of the local facilities today that he was speaking to last week. So g'day to everyone watching on there. You had the pleasure of talking to Andrew last week. And the captain audience.
Very good. Whoa.
Wow.
Just saw a big moment happening there in the background.
Is that Hansford? This car broke a gearbox in qualifying, so he wasn't able to do what he described as his on-lap.
It was Tony Kay there that had that huge moment. That's odd. That's a long way around the corner. Normally you see it start to happen before that curve there if the rear's going to go. So at this point here, he's got a lot of throttle on.
That's quick through there. That is a properly quick bit of road. Good fortune to go and see some of the Dunlop Super 2 Series race from the inside there. The car's blazing out over that exit curve, the apron. Properly committed, properly quick. Speaking of that, the gap has come right down. Bow has caught Johnson. It's just over a second now as they work their way through Darren Beale in the GTS Monaro. It's a lap and a half to go. Stephen Johnson looking for his 2nd race win of the weekend, just to continue building that championship lead that he's enjoyed since Hidden Valley. So this is a good battle. A little bit further back, Bressington's held on to 3rd place. Bruce Williams has just dropped off the back of the Chevy Camaro. Cameron Tilley up to P5 in the Valiant Pacer.
Darren Beale there in that car, causing a few bits of issues for John Bowe. The shot that we see on the right-hand side there is young Todd Hazelwood getting his right-hand shoulder strapped up. Reason for that, believe it or not, and this is a hardcore story, his shoulder popped out yesterday. He had contact with Simona Di Silvestro in the race, and he came on the radio and he said to his team guys, I think my shoulder's just popped out. And they said, what? And then about half a lap later, he came back on and he said, oh, it's just gone back in. And he continued, finished the race. And then he went in, saw Supercars medical delegate, Dr. Carl Lee, last night, and they did some treatment on that shoulder. So that is unbelievable. So people at home probably going, how do you pop your shoulder out in a race car? So the contact with Simona, Todd would have had his hands on the steering wheel and would have ripped the steering wheel so fast out of his hands, or he would have been gripping it so tight that as the steering wheel has gone up or down, it's popped that shoulder out of place. So that would have been ridiculously painful.
For mine, one of the stories of the race yesterday, and a car in 20th position, but ordinarily talk about that. Huge perseverance to get through the pain and drive through that. I don't know if you've dislocated your shoulder, but it's reasonably painful. I'm well informed.
I have never dislocated my shoulder, but I have spent a few hours inside the cabin of a race car, and it's already tough in there without having any sort of a shoulder pop out, that's for sure.
Amazing commitment to get it back in as well. Lost a few spots through it, which I think he was more disappointed about than actually having his shoulder pop out. Well, the two great surnames in the Painted Dixon Touring Car Masters, they're 1 and 2 again. Johnson's just come back to John Bowe at the end of this race, but looking to make it 2 from 2 and put half a hand perhaps on the round trophy. No driver's ever won 4 rounds in a row in TCM. Johnson's got 3 so far. Can he make it 4? He's on the course to do so. Great win.
And the battle that I'm curious to see how it played out was Adam Bressington has been able to hold off and continue to hold on to that P3 position. Those guys fought pretty hard, didn't they? Bruce Williams wasn't able to get the job done.
Bruce just misses out on the podium. Oh, that would have been close. Tony Karamfalowski had a big moment coming out of